Welcome to On the Raid. Tonight we are talking about something really deep, something that means a lot to me, and something that goes against everything I usually do state is facts over feelings. It's something that hits everybody in so many different fucking ways. It doesn't matter, like, if you are cold or callous or like to show that you are that hard motherfucker, it still affects you in some shape. And we don't know how to deal with it every once in a while. So as you know, I'm Terry, certified bully. That everybody likes to say that because I'm an asshole at times, but there's something I take very seriously all the time. We have my co-host, Mr. Savage, here. Wasn't supposed to be here, so I wrote everything out. So he wasn't supposed to be here. Then he is here now. So I guess we're fucking sending it. So here we are,
sending it.
And then we have Randall, or who I could call him sometimes skip up and call him Tank. He's the author behind Lucky Lit RPG, System Adventures, and Resurrection, a Ridiculous Vampire Isekai? Okay, one or the other. You say it both ways. No, it's supposed to say it one way, but I'm kind of stupid. A creative force who's built worlds that pull you in and don't let go. We go way back. Back to elementary school, junior high, and a little bit of high school. And then we lost touch.
Third grade.
Yep, then we lost touch a little bit. We had some small town memories, and then we eventually all ventured off. But yeah, so it's going to be a little bit of catch up here and there, and finding out some things about me that y'all probably don't fucking know or even knew, because most people think I was this way all the time. Tank definitely knows I was not as cold and much of an asshole like back in the day. It's just like it's night and day from comparison. So yeah, so we're going to talk about loss, and I wrote something just to start this out because this is something that means a lot to me. So bear with me. Sorry if you don't like it. If you don't, I don't give a fuck. So here we go. Death's the son of a bitch. You can't outfight or outthink. Doesn't matter if it's natural, KIA, suicide, or so on and so forth. When it hits, it hits. You can't change the outcome. You can't rewrite the damn story as much as you want to. You can call for backup in those situations that, we need it. You know someone actually was in there, and someone that has either like-minded or empathetic natures. Those who have had that pain before. But what we don't talk about most of the time is the wounds. It isn't just losing someone that's there. It's the silence that follows. The weight we carry pretending we're fine and when we're not. But the truth is, staying quiet about it only makes it heavier. Other times, it's the guilt, it's the what ifs, and playing every scenario in your head trying to figure out what you missed, what went wrong. At least that's how it feels for me, because I've had to do that so many times because so many of my close friends have committed suicide. It goes back and forth all the time. Like just last year, one of my close friends, she committed suicide, and it really rattles you, especially when they have a really good life from what you can see. You don't know what people are fighting and people are struggling with, and it eats me alive of not knowing that, especially when we have a really good transparent relationship and we don't know what to fucking do when this happens because it comes out of nowhere. As difficult and painful as it is, we can't go back. We can't change the outcome. We can't save everyone. And that's something I've come to terms with over and over again, even though I keep trying. The same thing plays in my goddamn head at those moments when I least expect it. And why didn't I reach out? Why didn't I just try one more time? And even maybe it's kind of my fault for not paying attention because I missed something. I'm going to put this trigger warning out because I know this is a heavy subject, but, we just want to be upfront because we can talk about some shit. Trigger warning to everyone that this episode will completely go against my normal facts over feelings dynamic, because this is something that means more than most will ever know to me. Thank you for bearing with me. If you have input, please put it in the chat. We do read the chats as it goes along. Sometimes we miss some things, but we do go back and forth. So yeah. So since we're going here, you asked me how am I holding up? Because Sunday was the anniversary of my friend Nick's suicide. I was fine. Sunday. I was fine Monday to Tuesday. Then Wednesday, out of fucking nowhere, I'm just sitting in Discord talking to some people, and I just start fucking crying. And then I got a wave of sadness. And I just stopped. I literally looked around. I was like, what the fuck is wrong with me? Because most people know me. I don't show very many emotions besides like rage or things like that. It's never anything like actually more human-esque at times because I try to control them because they end up getting you in too many situations. And I learned that for myself. They always get me in shit that I don't have any parts of being in part of. Yeah, and then I talked to a couple people a little bit more, and we just settled, like, what happened? Did anything happen? What's going on? And I told him I was writing this episode up. And he's like, they knew me, and they're like, that's a lot to unpack. I was like, I know, but it's one of those things of I want to get it out there because everybody needs to know there's so many different types of way of grieving, so many types of way of living with it all, and there's so many different styles of moving through it and still making sure you're okay with or without a good support system.
I think you really nailed on something there. I feel like grief is one of those things it's universal
Mhm.
and it's so unique. Some people they do all kind of things like there's what's that country song? I drive your truck.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about his brother died, and he doesn't think about him in the places you would think he would, but instead he drives his truck or whatever. And I think that's like a kind of a good example of what you're talking about. So I
Yeah.
mean, you might have started leaking water at a high rate, but
Yeah.
I don't think it's because you had no reason. I think it was just that was just your. I mean, you got to know it's like a physio nervous response to cry when you have emotional overload like that. So I think it's just like anything else. It's like your unique way of coping with the loss of something that clearly impacts you, even after the anniversary of it after a whole a year. So it's still fresh, right? But as it continues over time, you're going to deal with that differently.
Yeah. It's one of those things because he did that in 2018, but I still carry it with me because I feel like I'll miss something because he was one of those people that honestly was like the epicenter of every friend group, and everybody was there. He took care of, made sure everybody else was good, and he made sure he was good too. He didn't just like dive headfirst into like everybody else has to be good before me. He made sure he was good as well. He wasn't perfect, I can tell you that, but he did his fucking best to always, make sure that everybody was taken care of. But yeah, that hit me, and then Wade. Me and Wade go back to kindergarten. Stayed in touch for so long, and it just it hits you at some of the worst times, honestly. The loss of a good friend, and everybody keeps saying you don't know what you got until it's gone. And like, there's so many scenarios in my life currently, like the past 5-6 years. I wish I could just pick up the phone and just call him.
Mhm.
But he passed away in a helicopter crash. So
It was a small airplane.
yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. And
Sucks.
it's one of those things that he was doing something really, really good too. That's the bad thing about it. But yeah, he's kind of been a center point for me and a motivator for me through a lot of my fucking life. From high school to leaving high school, going to the military. He's always like just been like, you can fucking get through this shit. My first deployment, he was literally right there cheering me on, saying, you got this shit, you'll come back, you'll be fucking fine, you're gonna fucking kill this fucking shit, you're gonna fucking be the fucking man over there. And it just, those people that have that aura or that fucking energy to motivate anybody, he had that skill. It was just a natural gift to him too. Yeah. But yeah, I've lost a lot of fucking people, man. And it's fucking sad to say. A lot of good people, and it eats me alive. I know a lot of people say, your family should come first and things like that. I think your immediate family should, and then you should make your own family outside of your living family. For me, that's how it is. Because do I love my family? Yes. But I don't think they'll understand what I've been through, what I've done, what I've had to do, and the effect of how much loss I actually have dealt with. But many of the people that I'm close with now do understand that, and much as sucks to say, the military is kind of right. Trauma bonding makes people closer way better than anything else.
Just okay. Now,
I don't consider that the same thing, because yes, it was a horrific event. Yes, it was something that brought all of us together, but it didn't last.
No, it didn't. Sadly.
Look at the division of the country and everything it didn't really last. But usually people you actually trauma bond with together,
Personally, yeah.
you know them ins and out. You know what's going on with them. You know how they're gonna even react before they do. Sometimes you learn that. That's an intimate relationship you can't get from just hanging out with somebody, or just for something bad happening over here that affected a lot of people, but it doesn't last. Like I said, you want that strong bond, and I appreciate every aspect of it. As much as it sucks, but it's great until they're gone and lost, and then you have this big swelling hole in your fucking chest and everything running through your fucking brain. So yeah.
I think you really nailed it when you're, talk about because I mean, there's nothing like commiserating, right? If you, it can be someone that is an absolute enemy to you, but you both agree that something sucks together equally, or you suffer under the same thing together, you can
Mhm.
instantly build a relationship out of that. But I always think it's weird how when people die in families, oftentimes it makes people fight. You would think they would all come together, but then, human greed comes in, or, someone feels like they're getting snubbed over attention or something like that. And it always ends up with this infighting and petty, just bullshit drama that it ends up killing the whole, like, why can't we come together over this mutual loss? But, you stick someone in a bunker in the desert and get shot at every day.
Mhm.
You don't infight. You literally just you go in iron and you come out steel. I can't say that I personally have the experience, but my brother did, and I know several people, including T, who have had that experience. They have military record, and for the past 2 decades, we've essentially been in the desert. It's not like there's not a bunch of talk about what it's like. So I think that experience is something. I think the mutual bonding, or bonding over mutual misery, commiserating, can definitely make people come together. I just find it interesting when people don't, when family members die.
I think it matters. It matters their actual dynamic and how they were together. Like, because my family, yes, they're close, but for me to my family, there's a big disconnect, and there always has been. It's not anything negative. It's just I don't see how they can do certain things, and yeah, I don't agree with them. I don't bitch at them about it. It's just one of those things of I don't get it, because they forgive so easily. And yes, I get it. You should be there for your family, especially in times of strife or need or loss. When there's a loss, everybody does come together. And that's one thing I do like about my family. When there's a big thing, they all come together, no matter who they are. And when times of joy, they come together as well. But you need to understand that, because I learned after I left Groveton that people aren't like that. People don't have a really close knit community. People don't have this where they take care of each other. That's not the average. It's not the normal, and it bugs me that that's the thing. But at the same time, is I get it, because I see the differences. I see what's going on. I see like how everybody likes each other and doesn't like each other, and I can get it. Some of it's petty, some of it is important, but I can understand it. I don't like it, but I can understand it, and I can respect it, because there's nothing one person can actually do to fix that situation until they all come together. But
Well, and I absolutely agree with you. I think that but I also think that people choose. Some people want to use the time, like we were talking about with grief being universal and unique. it's like I think some people want to blow it up. They want to cause that problem because that conflict makes them feel closer to people. You know. How about you, Savage? Are you a wake blower upper?
Yeah, I guess it's a mixed bag. I guess it's kind of weird. I'd deal with the situation a little differently than others.
What do you mean?
The whole scenario, the whole situation, like in grief in general, all that stuff. I kind of deal with all of it in a different way. So it's interesting to hear you guys' perspective on it.
I think from what I've seen and learned, most people don't deal with it the same way I do. At times, I tend to internalize it a lot, and I rely on two people to help me go through it and figure out, am I being too extreme? Am I being too hard on myself? Did I miss anything? And it's always different. It's never the same answers, which I do like that. But how do you process grief actually, Savage?
It's weird because it seems as I grow older, it's almost harder for me to cry. I don't know why, what it is, but I've had moments where I've known that what should have been very sad and like make me cry didn't. Like my grandfather who passed away a couple years ago. I was close to him, and even though he just suddenly passed, it didn't really make me cry as much as it should have. Everyone else around me in the family, of course, they're all struck by it and crying and grieving their own way. The only time it was weird was seeing him but not being there. He's not active. The way you see him in person, but he's not there, and it's such a bizarre moment. You look at him, you're like, wow, this person who I had conversations with, had memories with, is no longer there. And I couldn't seem to like cry for whatever reason. Now I did have a moment there where I did cry though a couple of years ago. It was really sudden, was because he was a good friend, and he was actually a army medic. He just got to the rank of sergeant, and to this day I don't know what happened to him, how he passed. But I looked on Facebook, I'm scrolling through, and I saw there were like people just grieving on his page. Oh, I miss you, blah blah, saying that he passed. It's very tragic, and I'm like, well, what are you talking about? And then I learned he just passed, and I was like, what? And I broke down. So he was such a nice, genuine dude, and awesome dude. Had a nice sense of humor, very genuine dude. He was really young, mid-20s, 24. He wasn't out on tour or anything. He was literally home base in, I don't remember where he was. He was in America, I know that, but he wasn't out in like a different country. So I don't know what happened, something, but he just suddenly passed, and it was just such a collapse. I cried for like an hour at work, and then I had to tell at my time was my ex or girlfriend, but back then it was now my ex now. But I had to call her because she was sleeping. And then she obviously started crying because I met him through her, and it was just so weird. But when it's like a family member I was close to, I haven't really cried about it. A couple of years ago, my grandmother, on my dad's side, his mother, she passed away. She went into a coma. She was in a coma for 4 months, and I never shed a tear, but it was weird. So I don't know what it is, but for whatever reason, it's hard for me to actually shed a tear.
Okay. But that actually makes sense for you though. You don't show many emotions really. Like I said before, like a couple of podcasts ago or last podcast was, you don't show it all. It's one of those things that's who you are. Everybody's different. A lot of people I know get emotional about it and they cry and they get sad, things like that. And that's normal. From what everybody says, that's the average way of processing it. I get really angry because I remember I was driving from Virginia to North Carolina for the funeral of my friend Tommy, and my mom called me. And she said, I need you to pull over on the side of the road. I was like, why? I said, because I got something to tell you. I need you to pull over. And I pulled over, and I said, what's up? And she's like, when's the last time you talked to Wade? And I was like, I talked to him 2 days ago. What's up? And she's like, his plane, his little I can't
Single
remember exactly
plane.
what the single plane. It went down and he passed away. He's gone.
Hmm.
I know Mom doesn't joke like this, but I have the dark sense of humor. So I was like, okay, cool. Nice joke. Because, that's something that, I would see it somewhere or something like that. And
Yeah,
in any case scenario, I would have got a notification, something. She's like, no, it really did happen. And so I did the first thing I could think of was message his brother, Zach. And he said, yeah, that happened. That was really true. And, he's crying and sad. And I just sit back and just kind of process it. And it kind of just goes through my head of like all the time we had together, everything. Because there was a lot of time together.
yeah.
Because I think we spent almost every single day from junior high to high school together. Besides when we went on family trips and the weight room, football practice, any aspect. We weren't sports involved. We were always together. That's a lot of fucking time. Like when life things happened for each other, we talked to each other. And I think it was not even like 2 months before that, he called me and messaged me and sent me a picture. He's like, hey, you remember this? And this is my class ring. And he's like, I have your class ring right now. I was like, that's funny. I was like, that is funny. How'd you get it? He's like, I don't even know how I got it, man. But that tells you how much we were around each other. Because that was from high school. And this was like 2020, 2019 when that happened. And still have each other's stuff. I still have his original book of Halo. So it's very meaningful, and it hit me hard. And I said, I'm good. And I kept driving. I think I got to Richlands, North Carolina, and then I just started crying. And I just kept going and just kept going. And I didn't hit my breaking point until maybe a week later. And I think it just fucked me up more than I ever knew. Because I've had really close friends die on me, and it didn't hit me like this because me and him were basically like fucking family. And yeah, it never gets better for me, at least, because I have to go back to those times. Like I said, I've experienced a lot of loss of deployments, family members, friends, and they've all came in different sizes, different traumatic events, and it doesn't get better for me because I hold the weight. Because I try to help everybody through it, and I try to make sure everybody else is okay, because I don't give a shit about myself most of the time, which I know you've already seen that every once in a while, because I'm like, I can get through this, I can get through it, it's fine, I'll get it whenever I get a chance to, and then it comes out of nowhere, like it did Wednesday, and like it did earlier today. But like at the same time, I'm not going crazy with it, I'm not losing my shit, it's just emotions don't work well with me, because I don't know how to process them right.
Yeah, but it's those same emotions though that are so hard to like deal with. Nobody tells you about, nobody tells you how to actually pay your bills when you're in school and stuff and you're learning all that. But another thing they don't ever teach you about is what to do with the emptiness when you do lose somebody. Like you may not even realize how much that person was feeling inside of you, and then the moment they're gone, all of a sudden you can think of 10,000 different reasons why you want to call that person. And then it doesn't matter. And then you kind of go through that phase of calling them just to hear their voicemail. And I think that's always like, there's always a profound sense of loss when someone dies that's close to you, because you really see how much they overlapped in your life, even if you didn't see them that often.
Yeah, I get that 100%.
We're going to get back to this because I know it's going to come back up again, but we're going to start. What do you think was your earliest moment of actual natural loss or natural death, or living loss if it comes to that? Living loss is usually like somebody diagnosed with cancer and they can't fight it and they're going to pass, but they're still here. Things like that. What was your moments of that, if you've had any?
I don't. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, I think for me, I had a grandfather and a grandmother who both died of cancer, and they had it for years and years and years. They were diagnosed, and like my grandma, she beat like 10 different kinds of cancer. Yeah, and like it was already written in stone that it was going to take her, but she went out her own way, sitting in her chair, surrounded by her dogs, with a cigarette in her hand. She still went out with I mean, and really, because after she died, we found a sack of pot and a gun under her bed. Like, okay, girl, I see you.
She's
I
living the
see
life.
you. She was living La Vida Loca at 80 with 19 kinds of cancer. Um, and then my grandfather, he had cancer. It was lung cancer that grew into his spine, and so it like took away his ability to walk on top of it. And he had a bunch of strokes, and like you live with that. And it wasn't until later on when I was in college that they actually died, and I wasn't there for either of them.
Mm.
And I wasn't even in a position where I could move because I was across like multiple states away. So I couldn't even like go and visit or like go to the funeral or anything. I did go back for my grandma, but like to just hear about it, and you hear about it, of course, third hand, or you see it on Facebook. But it's like, oh yeah, didn't you know Papaw died? Like what? No? Where was the chain letter? You know what I mean?
Mm.
But you kind of hear about that, and then on top of that, some of that guilt comes in there. Like, could I have done anything different? And I know, like, the reasonable part of me says no automatically, but definitely could have been there more. That always that shoulda, woulda, coulda of. I could have done more with them if I would have been there, or I would have put more effort. I just didn't know they were going to die on a Tuesday afternoon on the way to art class, like.
Yeah. Yeah, it comes suddenly, You never 95% of the time, I'll say you're never prepared for it. You're never like aware of the exact date, It's very rare that it's like you see it, like it's going to happen tomorrow at 2 p.m. No, it's always just so random. Like when my grandfather passed away, he was the last I saw of him. It was probably like a week or two ago, but he was a healthy dude. He was in his late 70s when he passed, but he was relatively in like my shape. He was a skinny dude, kind of like I guess our metabolic and our family is just typically skinny people. So he has a natural health. They didn't have any of the cancers or anything, so they were lucky. And he was coming down the stairs, and the thought is that he had a heart attack, and then fell and hit his head on the furnace, and that cracked his skull. And if he was still the possibility of life, well, that took that away from him getting that ability to stay alive. Because you can survive a heart attack, but you can't survive a brain puncture. So it was very tragic. But you're never ready for those moments. It sucks. It really does.
I think mine, from what I can remember, is when my grandpa passed. I was a junior or senior in high school. I took the news very well, and then the funeral came, and I can't remember how he passed. I know he passed. I know it was natural. It was it wasn't of old age. It was something, and nothing hit me until the funeral of knowing that he's not going to be here anymore. And him and my grandmother raised me basically from, I believe, the age of 6 till 9, till my mom got a work schedule where it worked for her, where she could be home more. So it was one of those things that was kind of detrimental ages. And he taught me a lot of stuff. He told me how women were, how to carry myself, how to be seen as a man. And he wasn't here anymore, and he didn't get to see anything of what I could do or what I possibly was going to do. And then I think after that was my grandmother. I was in A school. I was in core school. So there, for the Navy, it's boot camp. Then you go to your A school to figure out your job, and then you go to where you're supposed to go. I was in core school. I think I was in there for like a month. I think I was like 20 some days in the core school, and we had Liberty. I went out in town, and I get recalled back to base. I'm like, what? Why? Come to base right now. You have to come back to base. So I thought I fucked up. I think I'm the one fuck up. And then was like, you need to sit down. I was like, okay. So we got a Red Cross message from your mom. I was like, okay. And I was like, what's up? I was like, your grandmother passed away. My granny was was a big part of my life. Especially when I came to join the military, because she's like, "Are you sure that's what you want to do?" and everything. And I was like, "Yeah, this is what I want to do." And she wanted to make sure that it's what I wanted. It wasn't doing something just to fucking do it out impulse. And it's like, no, this is what I want to do. I thought about it. I wanted to join the military since I was younger, and this is my chance. I want to do it. And she said, okay, go for it. And they sat down with me and they said, we're gonna give you an option. So what's up? So you'll recycle, but you should go there, go to the funeral, and then come back and then start over. You'll still be in the military. They gave me a chance. It's like, and I sat there for a second and thought, I can't do anything. Would it be more meaningful for me to go there? Yes, but she knows what I wanted to do.
Mm.
She knows what my path was. She knows where I wanted to end up. And I told them, like, I'm not going home. And they looked at me and they're like, are you sure? I was like, yeah, I'm 100% sure. This is where I'm supposed to be. This is where I want to go. And this is what I want to do. And unfortunately, she passed away. I talked to her last week. I'm okay. I'm content with this.
You could still visit her afterwards too, So
yeah, I went to her grave when I got leave before I went to North Carolina, Camp Lejeune. So I went back home, visited her grave, sat there for a little bit. But yeah, a lot of people came for me for that too. Family members, things like that. It's just like, you should have came home. This and third, and I asked them why. And they said, because you know she loved you. I was like, yes, I do. I know she loved me. I loved her too. But I know this is cold to sound like this, but I was like, she's passed away. She's not going anywhere now. I can't do anything about that, but I can go to her grave every time I go back home, which I did. I still did what I said I was going to do and told her what I was going to do. So
you thought through it logically,
Yeah. A lot of people don't like that, especially when it comes to loss.
Yeah, everyone grieves in their own way, and at the moment they're not going to understand it. They're going to be like, "Why aren't you grieving the way I'm grieving?" But they're not putting their feet in your shoes. Essentially, you're doing something that both you and her that you knew that you wanted to do. So she would appreciate you regardless, and be thankful for that. You still honor her and remember it. Believe in her and love her for who she was.
Yeah.
I've had the unfortunate advantage, I guess, to have seen two grandparents pass.
Mm-hmm.
One to see him pass, and the other one to see the body shortly after. And they are empty. Regardless of what you believe, because I'm not trying to get into that, but regardless of what you believe, when somebody dies, something leaves them. I mean, they found it scientifically as well. The soul or whatever does have a weight to it, but the empty husk, it's hard to be sad on that. At least for me, I'm less sad about the empty husk that used to house them, their meat bag, if you will. I'm less sad about seeing their meat bag and seeing them lowered into the ground and all that. I'm more sad because whatever potential was left is now gone, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that applies more if if it's a situation where they've died too soon, similar to like Wade. I mean, he had what, a wife and two kids?
He had a wife, two daughters. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That potential is real. That loss is egregious. It's more than he deserves, and more than, I mean, I certainly had a hard time coming to terms with it, and I didn't spend as much time with him as he did, but it was just a lot, because when you lose someone like that, and when you lose them in a horrific way, like the wife and the family and his mom, oh my God, Miss Kim, like, I could only imagine, and I wasn't there, right? But when you're going down in a way like a prop plane and stuff like that, like the wreckage is going to be pretty bad.
Yeah.
So that's like a forced closed casket kind of scenario,
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, guys, like, this is like awful. This is hideous. This is something that you hold in your heart, and you don't even have the comfort to be able to like touch the person again. If you need that kind of, if you need that kind of condolence for yourself, consolation is what I'm
Yeah.
trying. So like, I also am at the point now where when people die, I'm less emotionally caught up all of a sudden. Oh, well, my breath might, hitch in my chest or whatever or something. Like it's a hurt to it, but also like I'm at a point now where almost everyone in my family that's died while they were suffering horribly of cancer. So at some point, I'm okay with them going. Like I'm sad they're gone, but also like,
You're okay for them not suffering.
shoot, yeah, man. Like have one for me upstairs,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, if they're diagnosed with something terminal and things like that, and they pass, I don't take that hard. I just try to either one, engage with them as much as possible while they're still here, or I just try to make sure they know that they're not alone when dealing with this. Even though I know from the standpoint of them that they do feel alone, they do feel like time clock ticking, and I find it for myself, I find it interesting because if we all knew how much time we actually had to live, what would we do differently? Would we be the same person we are, or would we actually do the things we said we wanted to do, like our bucket lists, things like that? Would we actually go there, or would we say no? I want to just be comfortable and be happy and not do anything crazy,
Yeah.
you know?
Your
But
excuses don't mean anything when you're dead.
no,
Yeah.
absolutely not.
Yeah. No, I get that too. I think that's why I don't get so sentimentally attached, like you said, to the body, the husk. It's more of like the sudden loss of like making new memories, having conversations with that person. To have those moments when you're having those day-to-day conversations, or once a week or once a month, whatever. Possibility is gone permanently. You're never going to have that again. So it's never nice when you have to deal with that.
I get that. That's why I know as much as it pains a lot of people, I try to talk to them and get like some real substance from them. Most people say it's like, it's prying. Some people say it's too personal. And I do understand that. But to me, it's like, I'd rather know the person fully than have a meaningless fucking talk that's like small talk bullshit. I'd rather have everybody actually really locked in, have that full out conversation, just to know who they are. Because a lot of people, especially in this online world, like we deal with a lot, you don't really know who people are. Most people don't want to have those conversations because they want to, have their anonymity, or don't want anyone in their business. But I don't give a shit about that. I was like, I don't care if you're a bad person outside or not. I just want to know.
Fuck your feelings a little bit.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I feel like that's the best way to get authentic feelings is, you really want to find out what someone's about. Tell them they suck.
Yeah.
Tell them fuck you. And when emotions are already taught, that guitar string's gonna snap. 59 Corruption said to me.
Yeah, I see him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And the no
Yeah.
bucket list thing makes sense. Like, you could die anytime.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I mean, I guess that's chill and all, but at the same time, like, because you can die in no time, you should hit up the bucket list for real. Like, you always wanted to go to Italy, stop eating Subway for a fucking month, and then save up your money. That's about enough
Yeah.
for it. Yeah, shit's expensive, but
Fucking Subway.
go to Italy, brother. Italy is beautiful.
The real Italian food.
Like, and who cares if you're in Italy and everyone thinks you're a stupid American? You are a stupid American. Take your ass. Like, go be a stupid American in Italy. They're not stupid Italians in America, so fuck their feelings. Live your life.
Yeah, I get that. But where's I going with this? There it is. So we've managed that we all have little differences of doing some grieving and things like that, or processing it all. I don't think I've had anyone with cancer per se, but I can feel for people that do. It's one of those things that we just don't know how to navigate it most of the times. I think we're gonna go on to the next one, which is my hardest one. I put it up here in the top just so I wouldn't go around it and skirt it. Honestly, it's things like suicide and people taking their own lives. And I'll put it out there, I've almost ended my own life a couple times. It was mental health issues, loss, some survivor's guilt, and it's not easy to put into words for me, which is pisses me off more than anything in the world because I'm really good at talking. But I think that I used to have this standpoint on people who did suicide taking the coward's way out. I used to have the standpoint for so many fucking years until I was in the driver's seat of that. Because everybody thinks it's a selfish act. Everyone thinks that, you know, they're being a bitch. But for me, it's I wanted silence. I wanted peace. I wanted to not be a burden anymore. Because at the time, I think it was the first time I tried was 2014. And I think I just got back from Confronting. And I lost somebody really close to me. He was a good man, a good father, very religious, and honestly was by the book for everything and just so easy to get along with. He wasn't one of those people by the book that was a pain in the ass. He was that person like, hey, we just do it like this, man. Come on. And he was super easy to get along with, wasn't a dick, just was helpful. And at that point in time, I believe I was still religious. And then to see him lifeless and me try to bring him back, try everything I fucking can. I fucking still remember, I remember the blood, I smell the blood, and it's just in my fucking head ingrained in there of how much I wanted to save him because I knew he was worth it. It wasn't just he was one of the boys. He was like my brother. It was the fact that this man had a wife, kids, and I had the opportunity to bring him fucking back to make sure he gets back to them. And I remember Parisa dragging me off of him, saying you can't do anything anymore. And I wanted nothing more than to bring him back, and coming back and having to actually see his wife is what destroyed me. She didn't blame me, of course. She understood, you know, deployment, shit happens, and everyone kept telling him I did the best I could. And there's a rule on deployment, you know, don't fuck with Doc. And, you know, people will die. You can't save everyone. But Doc will try to break that first couple rules just to make sure that he saves everyone, and I couldn't do it. But feeling that guilt of that and then seeing his kids kind of drove me insane. I was married at the time too, so my wife at the time was actually helping me cope with it, and I just felt fucking lost. And then I came to that realization of why is a good man who honestly didn't really hurt anyone, was good to everyone, was kind to everyone, was helpful to every soul there is, and a good fucking father, a good husband, big in religion and always at church when he had the chance to. Why did he die over someone like, let's honestly be honest, like why not me? And I remember loading a gun, sitting there processing it all, and just in my head just replaying every aspect of that just over and over again. Did I miss something? Did he miss call out? Was somebody not watching? Was I in the wrong here? And I couldn't come up with anything. And then I just sat there for I think it felt like fucking an hour just debating. Do I pull the trigger? And I think it was Zach who called me, and I didn't answer the phone. And then Zach showed up at the house. You know, at the time, doors were unlocked because I didn't care who came in my house, because when you're in the military, usually you have boys that just show up and just crash and hang out all the fucking time. It's basically like us in high school, like back in high school, like swinging a revolving door of all your friends coming in, hanging out, basically their fucking second family. So, yeah, it's just like that. And he came in and he didn't hear anything. He saw my truck outside, came inside and didn't hear nothing. And then he came upstairs and he sees me sitting there and he grabs the gun and he's like, so, he looks at me. He's like, so, Doc's gonna be a bitch now. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, you're supposed to be here to bring us back. You're supposed to be here to make sure we're good. I was like, I know. He's like, who brings you back?
Mm.
And I was like, nobody, just over. And I know at that point in time, I should have went to psych, but there's a stigma in the military. If you go to psych, your fucking career's over.
Mm-hmm.
So we all handle in-house. I talked to senior chief. He looks at me. He's like, you good? I said, yeah, I'm good. He's like, you sure? I said, yeah, I'm sure. And he looks at me. He's like, do me a favor. I said, yeah, make sure you contact us every fucking day. Cool, I will. And I did it. And I finally worked through those fucking emotions of survivor's guilt, trying to figure out, replaying all in my head of what I need to do to keep it from happening fucking again. Because it did happen again. And nobody realizes how much weight that actually is of losing someone who's like a brother in front of you. And then trying to fucking bring them back and fucking failing. It's I don't want anyone to ever have to do that. I know there are people like EMS, EMTs, things like that, and nurses and doctors that do it. But when it's somebody you fucking care about, it hits fucking way fucking different, and it kind of takes something from you, and you don't get it back. No matter what anybody says, I gotta get better. It doesn't get fucking better. You just learn to live with it.
Yeah.
And that was the moment when I said, cool, I'm going to do better. I'm going to make sure anybody that has to ever deal with this in any shape, any way, can have someone to talk to. And I started being verbal and vocal about it. And it's helped a lot of people. It hasn't helped some because some people are just stubborn in their ways and you can't force anybody to change. And as much as we preach it, suicide isn't the best way to go out, but I do understand it, of taking control of your own situation and saying, I'm done with this. I don't want anyone else to deal with it anymore.
How many people did you save, Terry?
Unsaved?
How many people did you save because you didn't pull the trigger?
Mm.
I want to say, see, traces. Maybe like 6 to 10.
So you lost 2 and saved 10. I would say that's the reason that you didn't pull the trigger. Because they're right. If you're not there, who saves those 10 guys?
Yeah.
I mean, ideally another medic, but at the same time, like, I feel like one of the things that drives people to suicide is something that I've dealt with myself. You said you felt like a burden, but what if the people around you feel like a burden and you're the one that's holding them up?
I try to make sure, as hard as it is, because I know how my personality is, to always reinforce that nobody's a fucking burden to me and never will be, because I believe that my time is used to help other people in some manner, in something. But I find it hard to believe that I'm not a burden, because I know I'm a lot, especially when it comes to processing emotions and things like that. Because no matter how hard because I actually do try, and how hard I try and attempt and fail and just go back to a drawing board, it comes back to the same thing. As I know deployment did change me. I agree with that. I know that. But I feel like it didn't change me for the better of what society deems fit.
Mm.
Because I get a lot of, I prepare too much, or I have too much stress, or I don't stop a lot. And it's just because I always process things in the worst case scenario and figure out how to change them in any shape, in any manner. And it's painful. I don't force. I try not to force any fucking thing, but I know I come off as forceful. But it's I believe that, and it sucks to admit a lot, I'm really motivated by all the guilt of those that I have lost, because I want to progress. And I'm afraid of, if I stop progressing, what happens? Do I go back down that spiral of fucking depression? Do I go back down that spiral of a mania? Do I off myself? Do I go fucking crazy and fucking do something stupid?
I mean, you said that it changed you, and I agree that it probably did change you. But at the same time, I also knew 16-year-old T. Watts, and 16-year-old T. Watts, let me tell you, this guy takes everything seriously. He's a serious kind of guy. Everything he's doing is very serious. Let me tell you about a football game, or really any football game that we ever lost. T. Watts took that hard. He took that loss so personal. Like, the whole thing was his fault. The whole damn
Mhm.
loss. Mind you, there's 11 people on that field at any given time for your team. All right? You got all these people contributing to this overall thing, and somehow it's T. Watts. And T. Watts on the bus on the way back, people are cutting up, and T. Watts is just like, "Shut up, take this serious." And so I just feel like, you say you changed, that going changed you, and I'm sure that it did, but emotionally, I feel like you're not that different personality wise, simply because you've always taken everything serious. Is one of the admirable qualities about you, is that you're playful and you have time to play. I mean, how many games of Halo are we talking here, right?
It's true.
You have pranks and paintball, and that time that we got in trouble playing in that construction zone, playing airsoft, and the cop came.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yep.
yep, that was all with Wade.
Yep. Of course, it was all. You know whose idea it was too, right?
Yeah, it was Wade's.
Yeah.
But like, you've always been serious and taken things serious like that, so I can see how going did change you, but I can also see how seriously you would absolutely take keeping people alive and bringing them back, and how hard of a loss that probably must have hit you. Are you now in your life? Because I personally subscribe to, if you've ever thought about it once, you're going to think about it the rest of your life. What are you doing now to set boundaries and seek support and develop healthy coping mechanisms to make sure that you're never sitting there in the dark with a bag of Lays and a revolver?
For myself, I said, I'm going to get myself right. I sought out therapy
Mhm.
because that's what somebody kept preaching to me for almost 6 years straight. So I was like, I'll give it a fucking shot. It failed a lot. It failed a fuck ton. And then I got into a CPTSD program because they said I don't have PTSD. They said CPTSD, and I didn't know there was a fucking CPTSD, but there is.
What's the C mean for those of us that don't know?
I can't remember, fuck, because I just refer to it as PTSD. It's just chronic or something like that, but is complex post traumatic stress disorder.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's things that I think a lot of people might have, but they've never been diagnosed with it because it's kind of newish.
Mm.
But it usually goes with flashback or nightmares, avoidance of trauma related stimulation, emotional dysregulation, negative self image, difficulty trusting others, and chronic pain or fatigue. Those are the common denominators for it. But yeah, I started taking therapy for that, and it's helped. It's helped a good amount of time, and I don't want anybody to say, it's just shrinks and everything like that, but it's helped a lot because I usually take a lot of shit personal. I still do, but not to the same extent, not to the same overboard that I used to do.
Mm.
Did you leave for the military right after you graduated?
Yep.
So like, you
Yep.
were fresh 18, and then you went to boot camp.
Yep.
Did you
Oh,
do
great
officer
mistakes.
school or no?
Oh, core school. I was an officer. I was enlisted.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you went straight.
I went to core school, then I went straight to Camp Lejeune and got attached to 1-9. And then we deployed in November 2008 to Helmand Province because I checked into 1-9 and they said, "You're going to CAX." I was like, "What the fuck is that?"
Yeah, what is
Because
that?
I'm a fucking brand new boot, and it's training for deserts. It's pre-deployment training, and then it was called Mojave Viper at one point in time. It was 29 Palms or 29 Stumps for anybody that ever knows it. It's in California. You train there, then come back, do pre-deployment leave, then you deploy. Everybody else kept going back home on pre-deployment leave or their leaves, so that I never did. Because I didn't find a reason to come back to small ass growth in Texas after deployment or anything like that. I was like, no, they're fine because everybody's on fucking Facebook doing fucking fines. I was like, there's no point in me going back.
Interesting.
But that was
that logic. Everybody's doing fine. I don't need to go home and get away from the hell that's been training.
because to me, it's, a small town mentality. And then when you leave it and go see that there's more to the fucking world,
Oh yeah.
there's different people, there's different everything. And being in a true melting pot environment where there's everybody's from different aspects of life,
Mm-hmm.
You realize your small town is just a small town. It's not that big of a deal anymore. It's not, yes, it's cozy, yes, it's home, yes, it's where your family and stuff like that are, and some of your high school friends are, but let's be honest, most of my high school friends I don't even fucking talk to. Because they either one don't understand, because I hear the I get it a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and I look at them like, how the fuck would you understand or get this?
Well, that's not fair. That's not fair. They're trying to relate to you. They're just using piss poor idioms to do it with.
I get that, but for someone like me who takes a lot of things serious, you know what I mean, when I'm explaining things, I look at them like, how do you understand that? Like, unless their family's actually military and they could actually see some of it, then I grasp their understanding. But a lot of them didn't have that.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause I went back home, I think 2016. Went to the bar there. It used to be called My Oh My, something else now. And it was a lot of people and I saw it, I was like, it's not bad. It's, a small town bar. It's hole in the wall, basically. And everybody saw me and they're like, T Watts, blah, blah, blah. I was like, yeah, join the military. And then, just came back on leave to visit. And they started telling me about their lives. And in the back of my fucking head, I'm just like, that's all you've done? There's been like 8 years.
Yeah.
And like legitimate 8 fucking years. And you literally you're still working for the same place you were when I left. Yeah, you might be a little higher, but I know that's on me because I'm always trying to get better, trying to do something better, trying to get to the higher level any way I can. But even from just an average person's perspective, it's like, wouldn't you like went to a bigger company or something like that? Because you're obviously gold at what you do. Because you had the time, you put in the effort, experience, everything like that. When you went to going from Groveton, like go to Houston or Livingston, which a bigger clientele to like make yourself bigger to get just make the money. You know what I'm saying? Like something like that, so you have a better life.
Yeah.
But a lot of people are really complacent in where they do, and yeah, very. And if that's for you, that's for you. I don't think I'll ever be able to be that way, and not that I haven't tried, but I don't think I'll ever be that way.
I kind of get it. We graduated May 30th of 08, and then by June 30th, I was already in Phoenix. And then by July 3rd or whatever date that was, I was moving into my dorm room, and I was doing college, man. And I spent 6 years in college, and I got my master's. And I did it, and I did all the things. We wrecked the dorm room. We had crazy parties. Somewhere floating around on YouTube's a video of me punching a dude through a window.
I need to see that.
I mean, it does change your perspective, and I can't say that I have, disdain in my heart for them for choosing that route, but I also can completely see your perspective, T. It's like in the Chinese culture specifically, they're really big on the frog at the bottom of the well. Like they think that, what they see is the sky, right? Their whole life is this well, and they don't know that their perspective is so narrow. And I think that that's also true though, because they don't know their perspective's narrow versus you've been to fucking places like Kandahar, okay? Like I've never been to Kandahar. I've been to some sweet places, but I've never been there. And maybe that's not a sweet
Yeah.
place to be, but you got to experience a culture though that How many of those people didn't? You're at least, your experience, you've seen culture. You've gone to another place in the world, okay? Like on the opposite side of it, where they do things completely different. Different religions dominate. Society's completely different. People are shooting at you. Children are blowing up. All of this is happening, and you're in a whole new place where people accept that as everyday truth.
Mm-hmm.
And when you come back, all you can do is think that these people are the frogs in the well, and they don't even know that right outside the well is Livingston or is Houston, when their world is already big enough at the bottom of the well.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just different to me. But I don't say it as a negative. I just don't understand how they could do that. But those people might have actually joy in their life. That might be the reason why, which is fine. But yeah.
Different strokes for different folks, man.
100%.
I don't mean
Very true.
to call you out on it, but I also have been that guy. I understand. I've judged them for that same lifestyle, but then, later on, as you see your friends now are a part of that community, yes, they might not have ever left, but you know what? Now they are part of the bedrock that's holding up that society that we look down upon or we scoff at because we've seen different things in the world. We've been outside of our comfort bubble. Realistically, how much of a part of you also wants to be a part of something so much like that you're the bedrock of it. You are holding up something that is years and years of lineage and prestige. You know what I mean? I mean, people were still pumped about being state champions 50 years ago when we were in high school, okay?
Yeah.
Like,
That's true.
and now those same people we played football with are a part of that community in a real way. Football coaches or the mayor or the English teacher, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
not all the Miss Kennedys of the world look the same, you know what I mean?
Oh, Miss Kenny was great. But yeah. So we're gonna go back because we got off topic. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask both of you: have you ever had someone commit suicide before? Like somebody close or that you know?
Yeah. I'll start it. So before we get into that real quick, I just wanted to say I've never had a moment, and I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just the way my brain is wired, but I've never had a moment in my life where I thought of doing said thing, committing suicide. And I was bullied for all the way up until 7th grade, until I had enough and I just snapped on the bully and beat the living shit out of him. I just let it happen, and then eventually I just said no more. But it's interesting to see the perspective on how, like, obviously you've dealt with a lot more, Terry. You've done some things you had to do and seen some things and had to deal with some things, and I can understand why what you thought is what you thought and what you did is what you did. But for me, I just couldn't. It would take a lot of stress, and I wouldn't be able to even go to that point. I'd be angry. I think I'd just be an angry, bitter person. I wouldn't go the route that you did. I'd just be a more angry, bitter person. That would be it. There'd be no other thought process to what I would think. It would just be bitter, just be angry all the time. That's what would have happened. And for those who don't know, I'm bipolar. So there's moments where I can just flip of a switch, depressed as hell, but never to the point where I'm thinking of committing suicide. I just don't care. Another day will be, happy, giddy, or other, just could be in the middle of a conversation. I go from happy to not caring. It's a weird thought, but I don't know how it is, but that's just the way my brain is wired. So it's interesting to see your perspectives on it and how you guys process things mentally, physically. And I do appreciate you both for talking about that. That takes a lot of courage to talk about it too. So, but going into the question you asked, yeah, I did. I did deal with a situation where there was a friend, one of my dad's closest friends. He grew up with him. His friend's son committed suicide, and it was out of the blue because he was a very popular kid in high school. In sports, one of the most popular kids in school. But his family life was very bad. He didn't see his dad that often, and his mom, even though she had full, custody, she wasn't really there. So he felt alone. And so at one point, mentally, he just hung himself in the closet. So it was just, it was very tragic and very crazy loss. So that's for at least me. That's what I've seen.
How did you process that when you found out?
Processed, I was shocked, to be honest. I didn't cry, but it was like a sudden shockness. You're just like, what? Because like a month ago, we went to go see what was it Avenged Sevenfold, Corn, and Asking Alexandria. It was me, him, and his dad. I went by myself, and I just met them there, and it was an awesome concert. But and then not too long after that, it was like, wow. Again, it was just too sudden and definitely too early for him to even be thinking that, because at the time he was only 17, 18, so he was very young. He was a high schooler, senior.
I think lonely is the operator word there.
Yeah, a lot of the times I feel yeah, I would say I have friends and I have a significant other, but a lot of throughout my life I felt like a lone ranger kind of person, like a lone wolf kind of person.
Yeah, but I think it's like, I know when I've had my thoughts, because I did when I was, a lot younger, like even in high school and stuff. I wasn't particularly bullied or anything like that. I wasn't really one to bully if you knew me back then. But I just felt incredibly lonely was the tantamount way. And then like as I've struggled through my life with mental health and things as I got older, that was always the number one, like when I was feeling the worst in that way was feeling alone. Like whatever my problem was, whatever my burden was, whatever it was, I felt alone, even when I wasn't. And that's why, like, you talk about that kid who committed suicide and how he was so popular and everything. Like, I think that's awesome, but no matter how people might look on the outside, you can never gauge how lonely they are.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and what they're really like, what they're feeling. So while I haven't personally lost anyone to suicide around me like that, just my own personal experience in it is just lonely was always the feeling. Not like scared, not like angry. When I'm angry, I want to smash something with a hammer. That's a much different
Yeah.
feeling than wanting to smash yourself with a hammer. And for me at least, that was always, my personal experience and guilt isolated me to the point where I thought that that was a viable option. But realistically, I don't personally feel like it ever was. But also, I'm opposite of T in the sense that, you know, everybody, I think there is a stigma. And I do think that it's serious, especially having experienced it personally. But at the same time, like, if you think that's the right answer, I mean, then I don't, I never recommend doing that. But also,
Mm-hmm.
like, I'm not ashamed to say that I've also joked to the point of, saying never to someone that's actually in a crisis, mind you, but also do it outside. Make it easy to clean up. Like, I have that same kind of stark sense of humor, and I know that that is also toxic and counterintuitive to the actual support and stuff people need. But luckily, anyone I've ever had that kind of dark back and forth with wasn't someone that committed, or else I probably would have struggled with that a lot because I was like, wow, I told this guy to do it outside, and he sure as hell did. Like, called my bluff. Damn, like it's so awkward. How do I move on from this? And I feel
Yeah,
like that would eat at me.
it will, because I used to say, you're a pussy, you're a bitch if you fucking off yourself, and then like I said, it came full circle, and then I was the fucking bitch. So
What a bitch.
exactly. And I think it's funny, ironic, really, that those people that hold people up or hold people together are usually the ones that suffer the most because they want everybody else to be joyous and wants everybody else to have a great life. But and I try my best to be there for anybody and everybody if I can.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people don't understand. I hold a lot of things in, like I stated earlier, and it does eat it. It does eat at me. And then that's when, like, the past week, 2 weeks, I've been kind of scarce most of the time. I usually post, like, motivational messages here and there and stuff like that. And I just fucking stopped because I couldn't get the energy to just write it. I was writing, but I wrote it out one day and I was like, that's shit.
Mm.
And then one day I was in a really good mood and I put something out. I got some criticism for it, But I just didn't give a fuck. I was like, because honestly, I don't give a shit what nobody fucking says. If they can't come at me with critiques, actual critiques of everything, why? Then I just look at them like, you're a fucking idiot. I don't give a shit what you think.
Yeah.
You can say it's stupid, but if you don't break it down and tell me where it's stupid, then I'm gonna look at you like, so you just jabbing to jab because you're unhappy with yourself?
Not Terry over here judging people for trying to judge him. And he's like, what? You relate to people. I don't. Fuck off.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. That's just who I am. Like, if you fucking want to judge me, go for it. But please give me a line by line of why the fuck you want to judge me. Not just, your fucking feelings because you feel like it is. You would need to actually state it.
I mean, I get that. I think people that are very relatable and then relate to a lot of people, those are weird people, because I think, and the reason I feel that way is because all of my experiences are very personal. Like, they're very unique to me with my conditions and setup. And here you are trying to be like, oh yeah, I've been through something similar to that. Bitch, no, you haven't. Not really. Not
Yeah.
really. Like, I mean, tell me what part of my thing is anything like your thing. Like, those are completely
Yeah,
separate.
I will literally ask. I was like, okay, how do you understand it?
Yeah, yeah.
And they're like, well, I was just saying because I wanted you to say, I don't know, if I wanted an echo chamber or applause, I'd go somewhere else where I can get that. That's not what I come here for. Yeah, I got enough voices in my head to give me applause for anything I fucking do. I don't need fucking somebody on the outside doing it.
Right. Other Terry is an applauding bastard.
Mm-hmm.
It is interesting. When I was very young, well, when I say this as if I'm a very young, but it was like when I was 15. But anyways, I don't know what it was, but one day I did hear voices in my head. I don't know what it was. It only happened once in my life, but it was so strange. It was a rare occurrence, like, because obviously it was just once in a lifetime, but it was such a weird event. Like, I just heard a bunch of voices in my head. I couldn't even understand what they were saying, but it was all like overlapping. It was such a weird experience. I don't know what it was or what caused it, but it was a one-time thing and then it stopped. I remember it as a vivid thing. It's always a weird thing.
I get that. So, I am schizophrenic, and I'm medicated, so nobody has to worry. I'm not gonna be talking to myself or anything like that, even though I do that anyways. But it's how I process stuff. But before I was medicated and everything, it was pretty bad. It was pretty fucking bad. I think it was when Wade passed that I went and sought help for that. Of course, there was situations that led up to that too, but we're not getting to that right now because, I don't feel like going back through that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I went and got seen, and they kept telling me, like, "Oh, you're just bipolar. That's it." And they put me on antidepressants and things like that. And if you're not aware, some antidepressants can cause you to be manic. And cause you to have suicidal ideations and cause you to have homicidal, tendencies, things like that. I usually look up the medication I'm on to see everything on it, but at that point in time, I just want to fucking help. And then I had one of these breaks, and it was when I was dating someone, and I think it would have been okay, but she had a child, and it put them in danger. And I don't ever, like, I look back at it all the time, that there were so many fucking signs of I needed to go get more help than what I was getting. But I'm stubborn. I'm gonna admit that I'm stubborn as fuck, and I don't give a fuck what anybody says most of the time. So they give me good advice. Sometimes I will literally tear it apart until I'm wrong. And sometimes I tend to argue just to fucking piss the other person off. So, I'm petty. I'll admit it. I'm petty, and sometimes I'm a bully like that. But it is how it is. If I would have actually paid attention, because she said some things that saying like, that literally should have raised red flags for myself, but I didn't look at it like that. I just looked at it as, judgment, because I'm a dumbass and think that everybody has a fucking, an ulterior motive all the time. So, and I learned a lot from that, because at the time I lost where I lived and, basically a little family. And I felt that loss in my soul, basically, because her son was amazing. But it's just one of those things of I actually had what I kept saying and stating all the time what I fucking wanted. It was like basically a little family. And I lost that because I fucked up and didn't take care of myself. And then I went through the path of depression and fucking drinking and the dumb shit that people do, which to everybody else, it might be dumb here and there, but sometimes you're in the moment. Sometimes it does help. It's a Band-Aid on a bullet wound, but sometimes it does help for a little bit. And I admit that, but it was stupid. I'll admit it. I was really stupid in how I processed that. But go ahead.
When did you develop schizophrenia?
I'm not honestly not sure. But it was, I know it was between 2012 and 2020. So
That's just almost a decade.
I don't know, man. Like, I didn't give a fuck at that time. Like, from 2012 to 2018, nothing fucking mattered but my boys doing what we need to do. Hang out with them.
When did you start seeing shit and hearing shit? That's a good indicator of when it happened.
I'm pretty sure my first IED explosion. I think that was like 2013.
And you can develop it that way, or are you just born with it already? And
they said it can develop, or you're born with it. For mine, because I have CPTSD, schizophrenia, some other things, and it's not really, they can't really pinpoint without fixing everything else.
Think of like a trigger event basically pops up, and then depending on the person's brain, it could cause that to activate, basically.
Yeah. It's sometimes it's a self-defense mechanism for the brain of helping itself.
So you're
just one of those things.
Insane in the membrane.
Oh, absolutely, but I'm okay with it.
I mean, yeah, no, I like you pretty good. You seem to be mostly put together for a crazy person, which are the best kinds of people. If you ask the Mad Hatter.
If you ask certain people, I was I think at the time of the peak of my drinking, I was not how I am today or how I was when I was younger. I was life of the party kind of thing, and like actually outgoing a lot more than I am now, and nobody would ever knew something was wrong with me. They just thought I was always happy and everything like that. But most, like I said before, usually the happiest people are the fucking saddest.
So what you're trying to say though is that drinking and two-stepping is not a replacement for a therapist.
Yeah. I can say that.
I mean,
I can say that.
Is that an official statement? Like,
yes, I'll make an official statement right now. I'll say it right now, and I know somebody's going to fucking clip it, so here we go. Hi, I'm Terry. Drinking and going to the bar is not a replacement for real therapy. But another avenue is talking therapy, which doesn't mean a therapist. It means talking to somebody that actually is truthful, compassionate, empathetic, and understands what you're going through, but also don't take everything they say as gospel. Just make sure you make your own mind up sometimes too, because it could get you in more trouble.
But they don't necessarily have to have been through the same thing as you to be empathetic to you.
I know, but
just
usually
because they weren't blown up
more
doesn't mean that they can't appreciate that you were blown up and are fucked up about it.
I mean, yeah.
My leg's never been blown off, but I feel really fucking bad for an amputee, okay? Like, I don't need my leg to be blown off.
You see, that's the difference of us. I don't feel bad for amputee because they get that secondhand offense all the time from other people. Usually I make the fucking most fucked up joke I can about them, and they laugh and they're like, thank you so much.
I mean, I get it, but I think my point stands.
Oh yeah, your point
overall,
definitely stands.
Like, whatever Savage has been through, it seems like he didn't have a hella fucking traumatic time, but that doesn't mean that he hasn't had trauma to give him the need to have psychological support or emotional support.
Yeah, I'm also very stubborn in the sense, like, I definitely know, one, a therapist, yeah, I might see a therapist, but medication, I try to avoid like it is the plague itself. I don't want to take medicine to try to get better, personally.
But why?
But that's just me.
Time out. Satan, you're a dick. But anyways, go ahead, continue.
You know she was going to make one. But no.
I thought she was going to, like, walk away or something.
The reason why I don't like taking medication, specifically for, like, therapeutic reasons, is because For me, I don't trust it because there's a lot of side effects, and I'm more worried about the side effects that are potentially going to happen than it is to not happen. If it's a possibility, then I'm pretty much like, I don't feel like taking it. And a lot of times I've seen what it can happen to people I've known that have gone through, like, say, people like me who are bipolar, say take bipolar medication to try to get better, and it makes them more depressed. And then, like you said, manic episodes, suicidal tendencies, all these things. I'm like, it's supposed to be helping, not making it worse.
It's
And it,
medication, man. It's a game.
yeah, it's the game.
It's a
So,
game of learning to balance it. But the same difference is for you.
hmm,
I wouldn't say always medication is the solver for it. For me, I know I need it. I know I'm going to be on it for the rest of my life. I know that because it's my diagnosis is how it works. Is if there's one day, maybe in the future, a cure all for it, which will cost out the fucking ass, but you know it is what it
yeah,
is. Just if there is a one day to do it, I would try it because living with what I live with, I don't wish that on anybody most of the time. Sometimes I
hmm,
do, so people can have a perspective and actually fully understand.
hmm, and I get that 100% too. For you, example, it's a lot more severe than what I deal with. With you, you're hearing things and seeing things potentially, and that is a crazy thing to deal with, you know?
No pun intended.
But
No pun
for
intended.
me, it's just like a flip of the switch, and it's just like, I just deal with it. It's like a weight on my shoulders. Yeah, I'll deal with it though. I'll just, like any other day of the week, I'll just keep moving, keep it going.
How do you reconcile the fact that most of these mental illnesses are caused by a chemical imbalance in the brain
Mm.
of hormones or of other chemicals? How do you reconcile not taking a chemical to fix your chemical imbalance?
That for me is I try to do it naturally instead of like medically through like medicine through the science we use today.
Like weed?
No, not even weed. I barely smoke. It's more of actually what you drink, eat. That is a significant thing. But also working out is actually a huge help for a lot of people. Terry can contest to this. He goes to the gym all the time, and it's definitely going to change not only your mindset, help you improve, but also it's like a almost like a reset, like it flushes your system, and then it kind of re-energizes you in a way. It's very interesting how the body works like that.
Yeah, you get that shot of dopamine from a good workout, but what if your chemical imbalance isn't really regarding your dopamine? Not that I'm talking against working out. I think you should. It's good for you. But you're deficient in some other thing to have these things. So
Mm.
I'm just trying to say, like, so your approach is like you try to do it by like food and stuff rather than addressing it
Yeah,
directly
food,
to
drinks.
counteract what's wrong.
Yeah. Also a big thing is vitamin D. That actually helps a lot. If people don't know this, go outside and get sunlight. It is a huge game changer. It's not going to be the end all be all, but for at least for me, I've noticed a huge difference. And when I like this last summer, I went outside and went on hikes and walks a lot more than I usually did, and it helped me a lot more mentally. I was more in a positive mindset than a negative mindset. Again, this is just my personal experience, so it's going to be different for everyone. Everyone is, like you said, chemically change. Their chemical makeup is completely different from each other, so everyone's going to have a different way to fix their how they might be able to fix themselves or
Are you
not.
like one of those like get sun in your butthole kind of people?
No, nothing like that.
Like
That,
sunning your
but
yoni? That might be for
do
women.
do a yoga pose.
Yeah, like
No,
no, I'm just saying.
but I get what you're going with. But it's very interesting because as much as we are all similar as humans, are also very different in a lot of ways, and each person is unique in that way. You know, brain chemistry is such a complex thing, and one little wire that's crossed on the wrong loop, or it's getting too much or too little energy, or it's just missing completely, it could fuck up the whole rest of the system. Now your brain is trying to compensate for that one loss and trying to take energy, convert it to the other side. It's almost like a computer in a sense. It's very interesting how the brain works, and each person is very unique. It's some people lose their shit and just go completely crazy, and then other people are just brain dead, and that could be from many possible things, drugs, or just how you're born. It's very interesting.
You're bad, okay.
But for me, yeah, that's how I dealt with it. I've changed my diet a lot. I used to just not care what I ate because I didn't have to care. But I've changed my more into a carnivore diet, so I get a lot of protein in my diet. And it's definitely improved my my mindset and my overall energies throughout the day.
Okay. Let's see here. So, Randall, what do you think has been your hardest loss you've taken so far in your life?
That's right, because we're talking
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
The ADD is real in this room. The hardest loss. Honestly, the hardest loss for me, I think, and it's kind of random. My mom's second husband, he's alive. They're not married anymore, but he is my ex stepdad's, his step granddaddy. Okay, and I know that's convoluted and washed out or whatever, but that was Paul Charles, and that man taught me how to drive, and he taught me how to fix a flat on a bike, and he taught me how to grow shit in a field. He taught me how
Okay.
to corn. He taught me how to skin pigs, and did all kinds of amazing, like, I don't know, he spent time with me, and when I heard about it third hand down the way that he had died, I think that hit me the most, and it just kind of shut me down because my mom and my stepdad were divorced at that point, so it's not like I had anyone that I could call
Mm.
to like talk about it with. So I think that probably was the absolute hardest thing, like as far as like losing someone, just because I think he meant way more to me than I think anybody realized, and then not having anyone to mourn with over it, I think made it even harder than it probably had to be.
I get that. Savage.
Yes, sir.
What is your hardest loss you ever taken? And you actually hit you?
Yeah, that like I said before, it had to be the army medic that I knew. He was a good friend. He was genuinely a really nice dude. I knew him when he was in high school, and then when he came out of high school, and he went right into the military, joined the army, became a medic. He was really good at it. He was about to be deployed, and then before he was able to do that at a young age, he was already lower rank of a sergeant, whatever that ranking may be in the army, but it was just so sudden, and it hit me hard, for at least a day or two. I was just so kind of like awestruck about it, and definitely cried for a few hours the first day about it, because it was just like a person that definitely was going in the right direction, doing the right things in life. In his younger years in high school, he was just like not the class clown, but he liked to do funny things and to people, and played pranks a little bit here and there. And then he got into some trouble, but not crazy trouble. But he was generally a good person overall. And then he was going in the right steps to make his life a lot better, for not only for himself but also for his mom, who he was basically taking care of at the time, because she had some complications in health, and this is the only option he could take to really help her. So yeah, definitely would to say that would be the most tragic one.
Okay. For myself, the hardest one that hit me would I gotta put him in levels, and I hate doing that with this. Everything else in life I can do that, but this is hard. I think it would have to actually be Nick, because story time. He was getting dressed to go out to dinner, and life was going well for him. And his fiance at the time was getting dressed as well. We go to this nice restaurant called Ruth Chris. It's a really high-end steak restaurant. He was just sitting in the bathroom and pulled out his gun and just shot himself.
Jeez.
Jesus Christ. That's a heavy dinner.
I was there when it happened. Because we're supposed to meet up, and we all meet there, and we convoy over and do this stuff because we all get together. Like I said, we're like a fucking family, and it sucks because, like I said, everything was going right for him. He wanted to we went from Marine to an EMT, so now he's helping people and doing everything, and he always helped everybody else too, and he enjoyed it so much. I mean, he fucking really enjoyed it. And his fiance at the time was an EMT as well, and really good people. And just to do that, especially in front of somebody that you love, I can't imagine what was going through his head.
One
And
bad moment, you know?
the thing was, there was no fighting. There was no
Or like
any.
a thought, just a memory or something must have popped up.
Yeah, something
I,
was too much. Somehow he got so lonely.
and for me, that just I don't think I could do that in front of somebody I actually truly love at all, because that's something I don't want to put on someone else.
I mean, but Terry, that's also, to be fair, when you're feeling that way.
You don't think about anyone else.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
clearly in
no,
a bad headspace. That's why people say that it's selfish, because you're not thinking about other people. So it
Uh,
clearly you're not in your right mind when you're having that thought. So I don't think that it's easy to say that, but I think it's completely different in another way. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you were planning on being dead when someone found you. You weren't planning on
yeah,
someone walking in and stopping you.
yeah,
And he was clearly not thinking about anything other than ending it all. And that's why he was in a bathroom about to meet up with everyone. Everything was going good, but somehow he was just feeling that way.
yeah. It's just
Sorry for your loss either way.
Yeah.
yeah, it is what it is. I appreciate your condolences, but it's just fucked,
Mm-hmm.
But I do get it. But yeah, chat. If y'all have something to say it. It's fine. Like, we read all of them. We'll go back to Exiled. I know it happened a while ago, like almost 30, 45 minutes ago. But yeah, I get you take things hard and until you get to loss. But I do get that. I hold everything really close as well. So yeah. But what else is there? A spinoff. Randall, shoot something at me, sir. We'll come back to Lost in a second, but I need a breather.
Yeah, no, I mean, that got heavy. How about Halloween, though, brother? Did you get some trick-or-treaters?
Nope.
Okay.
You're getting trick or treats in that area?
Did you go trick-or-treating?
Just by himself. Hello. I'd
Hey,
like to have some of
I
your
think it'll
candy.
be.
look,
I
listen.
think that would be very frowned upon for a 35-year-old man to fucking
Okay,
be out there trick or
no,
treating.
stop to this. Every
And
year.
two, I blend in the darkness already. Why do I need a fucking
Wow.
costume?
Okay, look,
Just
you
smile.
immediately go
Yeah, we
racist.
went there.
Typical Terry.
Yes, a little bit. I
Okay,
told you.
okay, all right, I feel you. But no, think about this. This is real, all right? I open my garage every single year on Halloween at about 4:30, 5 o'clock. I put a table out, put some chairs out, got a cooler, and I got a big ass bucket full of candy, or 2 buckets full of candy. It's usually about a 5-gallon bucket worth of candy. Anyway, got our jack-o'-lantern out. So, you're more than welcome to show up any Halloween, and you can give out candy with me. We can hang out, take the kids trick-or-treating. But this year, just yesterday, do you know how many people came up with more facial hair than I did trick-or-treating?
Are you fucking shitting me?
I'm not, don't get me wrong. A lot of these were like 15 to 20. Okay, there was definitely a grouping, but we're talking
Mm.
about dudes with full beards and pillowcases mobbing up in a prisoner outfit.
About to
Okay,
rob you. You're like,
yeah, like, damn,
Are we
brother, my
sure it was a
wallet's
costume?
inside. Yeah, it was a costume, but they're all looking for candy. These people are literally out here, got hair on their testicles. They are trick or treating like it's on God for real. No bullshit.
want to relive the glory days.
But they do it every year. And it's not people like, you see people out with their kids and they're trick or
Okay.
treating. Nah, this is 2 grown ass dudes with beards wearing barely a costume who roll up and try to get candy. And every time, and this is a PSA for anyone that's listening, is in my neighborhood at Halloween. If you are 40 and you come knocking at my door looking for some candy, I'm going to give you one little candy, like a Tootsie Roll. Just one little Tootsie Roll. I'm not giving you. If you're a cute little kid coming up in your little princess costume, or you're a Power Ranger or some shit, I'm going to give you a handful. Just monster claw that shit. You come up and you could be buying my candy. Hell no. You're getting one little bitty bit. All right.
All right, so Cotton, she said, I'm 32. What about me? She's under that 40 euros mark.
I mean, yeah, you'd
She had a
probably.
good.
She had a good Padme.
She had
a
an
good
awesome. Yeah, she was
Amidala,
Queen.
Queen Amidala.
Yeah, Queen Amidala of Naboo. Awesome costume or cosplay she had for Halloween or in her birthday. So it was pretty cool. A handful in this economy. All right.
I mean, okay. All right. We're living good in our neighborhood. Our neighborhood is a good is a destination place to be. But I feel you in this economy. But we got that Kids Play mix, 4.5 pounds for like, you know, $12 or something. It was cheap.
It was cheap.
And let all the grandparents bring all the expensive chocolate. But even they only brought one bag. You know, usually they're like, oh, yeah, let me bring $150 worth. But in this economy, they're like $30 for candy. So they can get one bag.
Yeah. Oh, no trick-or-treaters here, man. It's fine. But again, most people took their kids to the good neighborhoods. You know what I'm talking about.
Hey,
Yeah,
I live in one of those neighborhoods now.
Oh, yeah? You over there living up in life and shit like that?
I'm just saying, I send my kid down. They come back with full-size candy bars, okay?
Yeah, thanks. I'll take my dad's fee.
Oh, my.
That dad tax, sir. The dad tax.
First off, we celebrate the dad tax heavy here. My daughter already knows it going into it. She said, dang, that's really good. Here, Daddy, here's your tax. She knows ahead of time what's going down, just like with the candy. I had to go through it all because some of it could be medicine, especially gummy candy. Those are always medicine. So,
yeah, I have my own personal bag.
See, you get it. That's what I'm saying. So, dad tax is real, and we already been through it. But wait, whoa. We're not horrible, sir. First off,
gummies are medicine. It's horrible.
You have children,
Here's
okay?
sugar.
One of the worst things you could possibly do is lie to your child. But let me tell you, as a parent, that's all you fucking do is lie to them little motherfuckers, every one of them.
I don't do anything with like that, though. My thing is drinking and smoking. Like, that's it.
Drinking and smoking instead of having kids?
No. Like, when I was around kids, stuff like that, and had my own little ones, like, parent or whatnot, I didn't do anything like that. I didn't do gummies or anything like that. My thing was drinking or smoking, and that was it. So they knew they weren't old enough for that. So yeah.
You should have tried the dad tax, man. Dad tax is life. Sometimes they're just doing some cool shit and you want to play it, so you're gonna dad tax them on that thing.
Nah, man, I let them have their own moments, man.
I mean, they can have their own moment, but dad wants to have one too. Then they can go back to their moment. That's all I'm saying. You raise them, you wipe their asses, you clean their vomit up at 3 o'clock in the morning because it's fucking Tuesday and they ate too much of something stupid. Okay, that's why dad tax exists. It's the ongoing payment for my services rendered.
So we talked about loss, a couple things of loss. I've given personal accounts for myself, which I really regret already. But it is what it is.
It's good.
So.
You know what, though, T? I do want to cover something really quick pertaining to the topic at hand, not off topic.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Honoring the fallen, honoring the past, honoring the dead. I believe in that, and I can say that I have had the honor of writing the eulogy for somebody. And this is not a plug at my writing at all, I swear to God. But I wrote 2 different eulogies, and I can honestly say I've never been more proud of my entire life of honoring the dead truly with a eulogy. And I think one day when I'm like old and I retire, I think that I might just write people's eulogies for like, the rest of forever, just because like interviewing the family and having the family tell you, like, whether you send them a questionnaire or you get to actually talk and interview them, like learning about somebody and having somebody that's eaten up by grief and then having them light up telling you about why this person was special to them and then writing about that and then delivering it to them and then watching them light up at the funeral as their loved one is being lowered into the ground or whatever. 10 out of 10 would recommend. Find someone to write a eulogy for. That sounds weird as fuck. But it's totally worth it. And I think honoring the dead is important. A lot of people like to be sad. I also feel emotions like sadness. Celebrating someone's death, I think, is the penultimate honor to them. Pouring one out for your dead homies. Your dead homies would probably rather you drink that and get faded. So that's all. Honoring the dead. I think that's really important. I don't know about you, Terry.
Okay, I get you. And you're right, Cotton. It is the Day of the Dead, technically, right now. So yeah.
Dia de los
It
Muertos.
just worked out like that. I didn't plan that either. But we talked about some loss, everything like that, and some personal accounts. Like I said, I kind of regret putting mine out there because I don't like my emotions stuff go out there, but it is what it is. Let's talk about some of the grieving. I didn't know this until like last week of how many types of grieving processes there really were, or how many types of grief were actually categorized. There's the normal grief, it's not complicated, typically emotional, some physical, some, mental reactions to the loss. And there's complicated grief, which is usually like prolonged and intense and, debilitating a little bit, it lasts for a longer time. Then there's anticipatory grief, which is, like I said, usually like loss of life while they're, still living. So chronic illnesses, diseases, things like that. Those are like, it's not unexpected. You expect them to pass, but you're still grieving while they're alive because it's going to happen, things like that. And then absent grief. So like you don't show signs of grief at all. Didn't know why they named it like that, but I get it because it's absence of grief, but eventually sometimes that comes around out of nowhere where you don't really expect it. Like it fucking hit me this week. So, and then delayed grief, obviously that makes sense. It's delayed standpoint of it, which usually happens with me a lot because at the moment I'm good, make sure everybody else is good, and it might be a week, might be a month, maybe a year. And then I'll just fucking cry like a bitch. And, it is what it is. But yeah. Then there's the mask grief. You mask it and say it's a different problem. It's not, grief or anything like that. You usually have anger. But yeah, those are some tid points on like what kind of grief there is. But yeah. How Savage, you kind of already explained, George, you're more of an absent grief kind of person.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's like, I think of my grandfather, I think like one of the most biggest things that come to mind is his voice. I'm never going to be able to hear his voice again. When you hear someone's voice, like example, just us talking right now, we all have a unique vocal tone. How we sound as a person, and usually when you hear your own voice, you kind of hate it. You're like, ugh, that's what it sounds like every time.
Yeah.
That's I hate my own voice. So when I hear someone echoing with my voice, I'll actually stop mid sentence because I'm hearing myself, and then it fucks up my whole conversation. I'm like, can you mute yourself so I can talk? Because I hate hearing myself. But when I think about it, I'm like, wow, I'm never gonna hear his voice again. When I'm having those conversations, it's been a few years now, and I can vaguely remember what he sounds like. But can you, as you two guys have dealt with it, can you actually still remember what he sounded like? Do you have that, do you still have it in your head what it sounded like? I can vaguely remember his voice, but it's just like, it's such an interesting concept. I'm never going to hear his exact pitch again.
So for me, I can remember Wade's voice to a fucking T. It's kind of ingrained in my fucking head.
Yes,
You're talking. Okay.
He had such a deep timbre, but also like a boyish lilt to it.
Yes.
Wade's voice is so distinctive. I can hear it to this day.
Yeah, but it's also I can remember Wade like no other. Like I can go recall conversation. It's just like we're fucking talking. It might be the schizophrenia, who knows? But I can still recall it. But I can hear Nick. I can hear Lauren. I can hear many of their voices still, and it's been most of them. It's been a good little while, and I still remember how they sound. I remember my grandfather's voice still, my grandmother's. So it's not one of those things of will I ever forget them? It's like, for me, it's kind of the opposite. It's like, when will it fade? Because it's when that happens, I think I will be sad. Mm-hmm. But then I think in my head, I might have actually fully processed it the right way, and then I can let go.
Yeah, that kind of goes with like their appearance as well, what they looked like as a person, because that also is a big thing. Each person has a unique look to them. Everyone's different in a sense. Like, people make jokes about the same, like, it's racist jokes, but they'd be like, all all these certain types of Asians look the same, or et cetera, et cetera. But when you look down to the new details, everyone has a unique look.
Yeah.
And so when it comes to like your own family or friends that have passed, I can still visualize what he looked like to this day, and I can still visualize his voice. But it is interesting concept. It's like, wow, I'm not going to be able to see him in front of me, hear him through my ears. I had to kind of like, however you're able to process it in your brain instead of it being in person.
And the grief when you inevitably forget what they look like, or you
Yeah.
temporarily forget what they look like, and then you feel guilty about it because somehow you feel like their memory has died in you, even though you're thinking critically about them and you've just gone face blind on them.
Yeah. Then so like Satan said here, so am I the only one that records voices and moments to play back? I mean, it is good to do that, but a lot of people in today's society don't really record for the sake of making memories. They just record because it might be a cool moment, but like that's more of like, not like because it's like a family shared moment. It's a different way. I don't know how to explain it really, but like the way you're thinking about it, I don't know if people do that anymore. They don't record for the sake of keeping their voice as a digital blueprint or digital like memory.
For me, it's if they mean something to me, then I just remember it. It's one of those things like that. If they're like, say, an acquaintance, I don't really remember them that much. But if they're really close to me, that's the ones that mainly even impact me in the first place. I usually remember their fucking voices for years to come.
Mhm.
Especially if somebody sounds similar to them. If I'm out in public or anything like that, I turn instantly like, what the fuck? Did you fake your death?
Yeah.
Things like that. I come across, you remember, Storm.
Oh yeah.
Her voice is legitimately identical to my friend Lauren.
Okay.
And when she started talking once, I was like, what the fuck?
Oh, you're like, who are you?
I was like, who are you? And then I saw her on cam. I was like, she even looks a little bit like her. And it kind of fucked with me a little bit.
Yeah, bad.
And I showed my roommate, just let him listen. He's like, she's gone. I was like, I know. So it's one of those things of why that kind of fucks me a little bit. So yeah. And yeah, Courtney, I see you. Yeah. You still hear Lauren's laugh? Yeah, I do too. And she said her grief is where she when she put her dad in his happy place. So yeah, that's kind of more of an acceptance than anything, which isn't a bad thing. A lot of people probably could do better with that, including my fucking self. I'm not good at accepting shit. I'm like, I'm gonna fucking change this. That's just who I am. But yeah. When it comes to grief, I usually get angry. I dismiss it for a while, then I get angry. And like I stated before, what could I have fucking done? Where can I do anything to change this? And it's a lot of self-blame. A lot of it. No matter what I do, I always blame myself because I take it hard, especially the people I care about the most. I do stay in contact with them. And it's not like an everyday thing, but we stay in contact, update lives, everything, like, Brandon, like me and him were, before we came on, just talking, just catching up on everything for the past 2 or 3 weeks. And then we set a time, say, hey, we're going to call tomorrow, set it up, and we're going to go through everything. And, that's kind of what I do. I mean, I do it with your fiance too, because like we'll stop talking like in depth for like 2 weeks or something like that, because either she's dealing with something or I'm dealing with something. And then we just eventually come back together and we just start like data dump everything and just look at it all. Sometimes with judgment. But it's not a horrible thing. It's a good thing, because I don't believe everyone should always have that, especially if you're not in a significant relationship with them. I don't think they should have everyday contact all the time. Because how do you know you care about somebody if you don't miss them here and there?
Oh yeah.
So yeah. Anybody got anything to say?
I mean, you brought it up, like you said, like if you don't have contact with them for like a few days, are you missing that person? And it's weird because my mind will sometimes make up a scenario where it's like a sudden loss, like like we're talking about the sudden loss of someone. Like, what if this person just suddenly died, or this person just suddenly disappeared and they stopped talking to you? Would I miss this person? And it goes for anyone and everyone that I know personally, or that I know through online, or I go to work with, etc. It's weird. I don't know why I do it, but it is kind of goes into what you were just saying.
Yeah. But I want to thank everybody for coming out today and listening to and actually all of our talks and stories today. Thank you for supporting Join the Raid podcast. If you haven't yet, please go to YouTube and click the subscribe button, like, comment, say something, anything. Argue with me, agree with me, whatever you feel like doing. Next week, Randall will be back on again. And next week, we'll be talking about stories of heroes. So, yeah, it'll be a good time. It'll be Saturday again. We should be on time. If something comes up, I'll put an announcement out there, like always. Thank you all so much for your support again. But yeah, that'll be it. I don't have a spiel written up for a send off because I don't think this episode actually needed it. Besides this, if you feel like you're going through something, you know who you can trust, you know who you can talk to. Actually talk to them. You never know what someone's actually going through until they actually say it and open up to you. From personal experience, I laid out how I felt about myself to a couple people, and some of them understood it, some of them didn't. But it's nice to see the standpoints and hearing why they're glad you're alive and here with them. If you're going through something traumatic, loss, or anything like that, you have your support system. If you don't, you need one, then reach out to some of your closer friends that have known you for a little while. Please don't go to your friend you just met in trauma dump. That's all I'm saying. Please don't go to the friend you just met in trauma dump. Horrible fucking idea. But
No,
everything else, just
call
go ahead.
Terry. Call Terry directly. Trauma dump him.
Bitch, I will lose my shit on you right now. Don't fucking call me unless I actually know you, like on a good level. Don't call me. There's levels to this shit.
I mean,
like
there
is, almost
but
friend, and it's friend.
if you're
and it's
feeling
good
very
friend.
alone and you need someone to talk to and you don't feel like you have anyone, I feel like Terry would create a safe space still, and he would be like, first off, fuck your feelings. Second off, I have no idea what I'm doing, but I will listen to everything you have to say and still love you at the end of it. Also, fuck your feelings.
I will not say I love you after. I will
Okay,
not say
all
I
right,
love
wow, all right. So he's
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
a
I like how
cynical
that's what he
bastard.
corrected. That's all he
Right,
corrected. He was
right.
like,
I don't love you,
Yeah,
motherfucker, but I'll listen to your pain. Dump it on me.
It's not. Look. There's different things of on that thing. Like a lot of people say I love you and stuff like that. And like, oh, you're gonna get me on a spill. Fuck it. But I don't say I love you to somebody if I don't fucking actually love them. I don't, because I don't like using that word unless it actually means something.
But I love you.
It's a waste of fucking space. It's a filler, and I'm like, you can't find another word, because if you love somebody, you'll do basically what you can for them. So that's why I say that.
In other words, he does not love us.
I admit I do listen to everybody and anybody most of the time with their issues, and I listen to it and I process it and I adjust it and I look at it. And I'm just like, and yes, a lot of time goes through my head like, wow, they're a fucking idiot. But other half of the time, it's kind of like, okay, they have a good standpoint. They have reason to feel like this. They have reason to actually have these, things going on. But they need to, figure out a way to manage it and navigate it in a good light. And it looks different for everybody.
So I think what you're saying, Terry,
that would give you honest truth. I mean, sometimes I try to.
You're not
sounding
like
cold
a
hard
person
truth
that we want to.
Yeah.
I think maybe you should go to Savage instead. He looks like the kind of person that can,
Don't go to him. That's fucking worse than going to me.
No, Terry, based on your description, I think going to you might be the worst option.
Look, if here's the thing about it,
because what if they
if
just
need
need someone to tell them
come to
that
me,
they
just
love
make
them?
sure that you know I'm gonna ask you some questions, and I'm gonna literally state, I might say you're a fucking dumbass, but keep talking. But if you leave that conversation, it's not on me after that. Don't do the impulsive thing. I preach it. I'm bad at taking my own advice, bad at taking everybody else's advice, because I am a hard-headed motherfucker and stubborn motherfucker, and I will always do things my way until somebody shows me or lays out proof that it's a better way to do it some other way.
Well, you said it
Even
was
then
a
I
bad
somehow not do
idea
it.
to go to Savage with their problems,
Yes.
but Savage didn't
Yes.
say it was a bad idea.
I'm going to
His
say that.
fiance straight up said, "Don't do that."
Oh no,
Yeah.
definitely. Savage
so-
is the guy. I'm gonna call him up at like 4:00 in the morning, and I'm just gonna sob uncontrollably.
That's even worse. I'm going to be half asleep and be like, dude, it's 4 a.m. and just hang
It's
up.
gonna be 4 a.m. He's gonna be like, "Who the fuck is this?"
To be serious on this, it is first, if you can, find a therapist that is a licensed therapist that is trained to actually help you and understand you, because a lot of people are not going to be able to understand your situation, and they're not going to be able to help you process it in a healthy way. One of the things I actually went to school for was actually to become a therapist. Like, I like to study, but it's more of like, it's not because I want to help people though. It's more because I want to study the human mind. I want to understand why people think the way they think. It's not because I want to actually care and help people. It's because I want to study the human mind. But so
I was about to say, if you want to be a therapist, I'd be like, I would fucking give you like 1-star reviews across the board. I know I said the word I said I'm trying to fix myself saying it, but guess what? That right there is 1-star
Oh my
review
god!
every fucking time.
Hi,
Somebody's
welcome.
gonna be have like a fucking detrimental fucking crisis, and you're gonna be like, yeah, I don't give a fuck. I just want to know why you did this.
Can I give you a CT scan while we talk? Do you mind?
so
Go ahead.
but if when we're actually taking this seriously though, this is my thought process behind it, is definitely get help from an actual therapist with like that's made to specifically help you with these kind of things. And also remember, no matter how bleak the situation is, you are not alone. There is over 7 billion people on this earth. There's bound to be more than just you dealing with the same situation you are dealing with. You're not alone. There will be someone there that can help you. And like Terry said too, if you have a really good friend that is actually there for you, not just like, yeah, we're cool, we hang out, have a blast, but someone on an actual like emotional level, someone that will, go through the good and bad with you because they actually care for you. Talk to them about that stuff.
Yeah.
All fun and games.
Yeah.
Seriously, find some help.
That's all.
Some real
Yeah.
help. Don't bother
always
them
good
because they
advice.
clearly do not care about your feelings. Go to a professional. They will care more than Savage and Terry put together. At least Terry will tell you the truth. And he'll also.
I'll tell them the truth. They might not like to hear it, but
Nobody likes hearing what I fucking gotta say most of the time anyway, so I don't give a shit. But yeah, find someone that's good with you and actually listens and actually is going to contribute to your situation. I don't got anything else, but yeah, y'all have a good one, and thank you.